Hi, I'm Owen of Van Trekking Lifestyle, and we have a decision to make. Not just a little decision, I mean a decision. The kind that keeps you up late at night, the kind that wakes you up early, the kind where you're making pro-con lists, writing down everything you can think of, and comparing every possible option. The decision? It's how we could add DIY lithium and solar and batteries to our 2023 Basecamp 20X. So we can head out west and boondock and dry camp and do all the things we want to do. Or instead of doing that, I could bite the bullet and admit that maybe I made a mistake. Kind of like the mistake of buying a two-wheel drive Tundra one time when I thought I was buying a four-wheel drive. I never could find the four-wheel drive button on it, and it turns out I'd purchased a two-wheel drive that didn't do really well in the snow. We thought it would take us anywhere. It looked really tough and capable, but in the real world, without that four-wheel drive, it had serious limitations. And that's exactly how our base camp is starting to feel right now. On paper, it looks ready for off-grid boondocking, but without lithium batteries, a big inverter, and a solid solar setup, you hit limits really quickly, especially in hot weather when you need real power to stay cool, to cook, and to recharge. So, back to the decision. Should we do a DIY upgrade? It sounds like an obvious choice, right? I thought so too. I started doing a lot of research, and like most people, I looked into Battleborn batteries, Victron gear, and the whole setup that you see a ton of YouTube channels doing. That was our plan until we watched George of Humble Road, who went a different route, using a solar generator system instead of piecing together everything. That got me really thinking, because he's a really smart guy, and if it worked for him, it could probably work for me. So I reached out to our longtime channel partners at Blue Eddy to see what they recommended. They offered to send us the top-of-the-line system, the Apex 300. It has massive capacity. It's a simple setup that you just plug in. It's an all-in-one solution. And you'd think that would make the decision easier, but it didn't. It did look promising enough to spend many hours creating a detailed plan of everything I would have to do, both in our Tundra truck and with our base camp, to make that work. And after several hours, my sweet wife Lynn sat down and looked at the plan I'd come up with and had spent so long creating. A massive list of everything we would need to buy, everything we'd need to install, every hole we'd have to drill, every wire we'd have to buy, and everything we'd have to test. And your reaction? Well, if you know her, or you know us, I bet you know what her reaction was. Before I could even get halfway through the list, she was overwhelmed. She was maybe even a little bored and lost. She was nervous, and honestly, I think she was scared that I'd either burn out or I would screw something up. And the longer I showed it to her, the more scared she became, and finally she just said, "Stop." It was about then that she asked the question that I wasn't ready for. Can't we just go buy an RV that already has all this installed from the factory? Something that we know is going to work. And now that puts us staring down that age-old decision. Fix it or replace it. And if we choose to replace it, the obvious choice is the new Airstream Basecamp 20XE. The all-electric 2025 version of the trailer that we already love. So you're probably going to ask, why didn't we buy that one to begin with? Well, the truth is it wasn't available when we bought ours. But guess what? It is now. And wow, it comes with factory-installed lithium and solar and an inverter and more stored power than we could ever install by ourselves in our base camp we have. And like us, you probably think it sounds like a really good solution, and it is. But that actually made the decision even harder. Because while the DIY mode wouldn't match the XE's raw power, it could be reused in our next RV, or serve as a whole home backup power system, or power the base camp on this next trip. Not perfectly, but maybe good enough. So what's the right move? Honestly, we don't know yet. We've been researching and making lists and comparing this for days, and it's still not an easy call. I wish I could just cut to the chase and say, here's what we decided, but we're not there yet. We will make the decision this week because we leave in 10 weeks for a multi-month trip out west, and whether we're doing a full DIY power build or rolling out with a brand new 20XE, We've got to move fast. If we're going the DIY route, the work needs to start now. And if we're replacing it, we need to find the right 20XE, which is going to be hard to do, and make the deal and pick it up and do shakedown trips because, well, sometimes paper power doesn't work out to be real power in real life. And one more not so small wrinkle, my wonderful wife, well, she hates big decisions. She always has. She's the queen of analysis paralysis. And if left alone, she's always going to lean toward doing nothing at all. So we've agreed to set a hard deadline. And in just a few days, we're going to make the decision. Will it be the right one? Who knows? Will something come out in 10 years that'll be 10 times better than what we would go buy or what we could DIY? Yeah, I bet. But right now, knowing what we know, we just have to make a decision and get started. You see, it's kind of like this old boat. I bet he'd like to have a new boat. Maybe. But this fellow works on a lot of the boats here at our lake, and he needs power. And this is how he solved his power situation. It's a huge, huge generator. You wouldn't want to take that in an RV. And I bet he would love it if you could go and buy one just like this with all this battery power. Or I bet he would like to maybe go buy a newer one that looked nicer, maybe. But the problem with buying one that's nicer, sometimes you have to worry more about taking care of it and scratches and dents and dings, you know? So that's playing into the decision. This base camp that we have right now, it's already been to Alaska. It's already got scratches. It's already got dents. It's got things about it that, well, I just don't worry about taking it out into the wild and doing anything with it because what's one more dent? But a new one? You know how you feel about that? A new car or a new boat or anything, a new bicycle. You hate that first scratch and that first dent. But we just have to make the decision based upon what we need and how we could solve it, not based upon what might happen if we go one way or the other. So what would you do in our situation? Would you upgrade what you've got or do a fresh start with something new that's built specifically for what you're wanting to do? Drop us a comment and let us know. We'd love to hear your thoughts. In our next video, we'll share our decision with you because one way or the other, we're making this decision this week. Whether it's turning wrenches or signing the paperwork and getting the keys, because we're wearing ourselves out thinking about this. And to be honest, all this thinking, well, it's tiring. And what I'm thinking right now is maybe the best thing for us to do is to just quit thinking about this for just a few hours and relax on the kayaks out on our lake. See you next time. Thanks a lot for watching this one. There's our beaver.
Exercise ring closed.
Baby heron. Yeah. Hello, buddy. We hit a log. Mama tried to tell us about that, didn't she?
You made it.
Right 2 o'clock on one of the bare limbs up there.